However, the last 2 or 3 years I had allowed myself some respite. But now I will begin with more perseverance and fury than ever, since fear urges me, not my conscience. But, replied Madame Danglars, the Count of Monte Cristo can know nothing, or he would not seek our society as he does. Oh, the wickedness of man is very great, said Villefort, since it surpasses the goodness of God. Did you observe that man's eyes while he was speaking to us? No. But have you ever watched him carefully? Doubtless he is capricious, but that is all. One thing alone struck me, of all the exquisite things he placed before us, he touched nothing. I might have suspected he was poisoning us. And you see you would have been deceived. Yes, doubtless. But believe me, that man has other projects. For that reason I wish to see you, to speak to you, to warn you against every one, but especially against him. Tell me, cried Villefort, fixing his eyes more steadfastly on her than he had ever done before, did you ever reveal to anyone our connection? Never, to anyone. You understand me, replied Villefort, affectionately, when I say anyone, pardon my urgency, to anyone living I mean? Yes, yes, I understand very well, ejaculated the Baroness, never, I swear to you. Were you ever in the habit of writing in the evening what had transpired in the morning? Do you keep a journal? No, my life has been passed in frivolity. I wish to forget it myself. Do you talk in your sleep? I sleep soundly, like a child, do you not remember? The color mounted to the Baroness's face, and Villefort turned awfully pale. It is true, said he, in so low a tone that he could hardly be heard. Well? Said the Baroness. Well, I understand what I now have to do, replied Villefort. In less than 1 week from this time I will ascertain who this M. de Monte Cristo is, whence he comes, where he goes, and why he speaks in our presence of children that have been disinterred in a garden. Villefort pronounced these words with an accent which would have made the Count shudder had he heard him. Then he pressed the hand the Baroness reluctantly gave him, and led her respectfully back to the door. Madame Danglars returned in another cab to the passage, on the other side of which she found her carriage, and her coachman sleeping peacefully on his box while waiting for her. Chapter 68. A Summer Ball. The same day during the interview between Madame Danglars and the Procureur, a traveling carriage entered the Rue du Helder, passed through the gateway of number 27, and stopped in the yard. In a moment the door was opened, and Madame de Mercier alighted, leaning on her son's arm. Albert soon left her, ordered his horses, and having arranged his toilet, drove to the Champs-Élysées, to the house of Monte Cristo. The Count received him with his habitual smile. It was a strange thing that no one ever appeared to advance a step in that man's favor. Those who would, as it were, force a passage to his heart, found an impassable barrier. Mercier, who ran towards him with open arms, was chilled as he drew near, in spite of the friendly smile, and simply held out his hand. Monte Cristo shook it coldly, according to his invariable practice. "Here I am, dear Count. Welcome home again. I arrived an hour since." "From Dieppe?" "No, from Tréport." "Indeed? And I have come at once to see you." "That is extremely kind of you," said Monte Cristo with a tone of perfect indifference. "And what is the news?" "You should not ask a stranger, a foreigner, for news." "I know it, but in asking for news, I mean, have you done anything for me?" "Had you commissioned me?" said Monte Cristo, feigning uneasiness. "Come, come," said Albert, "do not assume so much indifference. It is said, sympathy travels rapidly, and when at Tréport, I felt the electric shock. You have either been working for me or thinking of me." "Possibly," said Monte Cristo, "I have indeed thought of you, but the magnetic wire I was guiding acted, indeed, without my knowledge." "Indeed? Pray tell me how it happened?" "Willingly. M. Danglars dined with me. I know it. To avoid meeting him, my mother and I left town. But he met here M. Andrea Cavalcanti." "Your Italian prince?" "Not so fast, M. Andrea only calls himself Count."